Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to see all of you. We have quite a few who will be coming in, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Sue in California, who is one of our cousins, explained to Davina and I that we should have Joy as one of the speakers. So I called her, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to her. If you had time, she did a YouTube for us to give us an explanation about what she's going to be talking about. So with just going directly in, and then Davina, I'll step back with you in a few minutes and we'll talk about numbers. So Joy, it's a pleasure to meet you again and to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you so much for having me today. And you are such a wonderful host. It's helping me so much through getting this set up for you. As a Texas host, I wanted to share a little bit on the storyteller today, which is my third great grandmother, Lavinia Kennard Wadsworth. Kennard would have been her clan name. Wadsworth was who she married. He was in the Georgia Voluntary Militia that came to fight at the Goliad. And he is listed on the monument in Texas as being one of the people that was killed at Goliad, but he was not. He was one of the shipbuilders. So he survived that, but was killed in a battle later in 1852. And that's when Lavinia couldn't have land because she was Native and she had to move to Indian Territory. My grandfather is the last person that was born in Indian Territory, and my father is the first Native American born. So with that, I would like to start my presentation, if that's okay, unless you have anything you want to ask.
Perfect. Thank you, Joy.
Okay. So I'll share the screen. I can't share.
Oh, that's right. Let me go in and change you, Joy. There you go, Joy.
What's it doing? Does everybody see my screen? Anybody? Just raise your hand.
There it is, Joy.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, my presentation today is Native American farming through my ancestors' eyes. My name is Jory Wadsworth Sweger, and I'm the storyteller today is going to be my third great grandmother. So please let her start the presentation. Hang on. My name is Lavinia Kennard Wadsworth. I was born in 1795 in the Muskogee Nation in the state of Coweta, which is the clan of Wadsworth. My ancestors lived in Georgia. That's where I'm born. Tashi. Just don't go. Mudo. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to switch to English. Hang on. The Creek tribe lived in various styles of huts and havens. In the Mississippi, where I live, this is what our village would look like. The town is with grass houses. We made our homes utilizing systems of post shafts secured with, I'm sorry, I'm getting a ding, rattle and white mud. The dividers were then secured by stick mats and a thatched grass rooftop. Our Miko, which you call chief, he is our president of all tribes. Coweta is my tribe, and it has its own Miko who reports to McGilvray. McGilvray is the chief Miko. His father was Scottish and his mother is Muskogee. Our teepees are shown below, the grass huts. T means living and P means place. Any place you are living is your teepee. So welcome to my teepee. This is a typical daily life in my village. You can use land. Land belongs to everyone, to the community, but you can segregate a piece that you develop and harvest and take care of. There's no inheritance in my people. The land is returned to the village when someone reaches their end of their cycle of this life. We believe that there is no end of life, but only a beginning. We have no word for inanimate. Due to everything was a piece of the Creator, therefore all things are animate. We believe that you take what you need and that you use all that you can of what you take. This is where I live, Coweta tribe, located on the Mississippi River in Georgia. Europeans believed that the fertile, well-managed land just happened, but that was untrue. We were never wild. They have never given my people credit for most efficient eco land management system that has ever existed. The ways of my people is unsustainability. I'm sorry, the ways of my people is sustainability. Our crops survive the harshest, severest weather, winds, temperatures, freezing or scorching hot. Sources are sacred. Sustainability is resources at a rate equal or greater than the rate of which they are consumed. Living within the resources that are available without damaging the environment. Community that resembles a living system where all sources are in. I have to move this. This is in my way. Hang on just a second while I adjust this. Due to our methods, the land is rich and fertile, organized and well tended. We practice extensive and intensive land management, food, clothing, shelter, and medicine that is guided by ethics, including moderation, reciprocity, restraint, celebration, and gratitude. Every year we have an annual Green Corn Festival. We have no calendar. We use celestial methods to farm by moons. We don't keep track of days, years, anything. It's just what's happening at the moment. Each moon cycle named of the harvest its beginnings. One's moon is called the blueberry, another is the corn that tells us what's being harvested at the time. Tools were used to support methods of permaculture to harvest the same plant year after year. Keep it living is our goal, which perennial cultivation, with there is no need to create new croplands by burning. The tools we made for farming were made to do this as little impact to soil as possible. Bone and stone hoes are used, and we plant using wooden dibbles or digging sticks. This is the mussel shell blade. We gather everything and store it in baskets that were made and gourds used to gather the harvest, storage, and water. Water was purified by hanging it in the trees. We put it in a basket, hung it in the trees. We hang it in the trees for a day with a towel or a piece of cloth over it, and that will purify the water. The three staples of Native American food are corn, squash, and beans. We are the origins of many practices and currently used in the regenerative agriculture movement. Maize, our staple given by the master of breath, produces a lot of carbohydrates, calories. I wonder if I can memorize this. It's not where I can't see it. Hang on. Okay. Produces a lot of carbohydrate, calories, and forms protein when combined with beans. Maize is used to make our bread. We don't eat it and roast it. We store it for grain. The grain was how we survived all through the winter in different times by using the Indian corn. It had been developed by us to produce corn that would store without going bad for long periods of time. Estimated we can support 3 times as many on 1 acre than the Europeans by doing corn instead of wheat. Foraging is a practice we use to collect over 500 medicinal plants. Only 250 survived. Because of the removal that happens later, some of our plants were lost and the knowledge is lost because we pass on by storytelling. We harvest bark from trees without killing the tree, but only taking resilient to pests and diseases. This system has many advantages for us: better soil, less soil erosion, and more stable yields when compared to the monocultural system. Mixed cropping is used, in which we sow more than 2 crops at the same time. This creates biodiversity, which attracts a variety of beneficial and predatory insects to minimize pests and increase soil organic matter, fumigates the soil, and suppresses weed growth. We practice agroforestry, which is the management of trees, crops, and animals in a way that benefits all. Native Americans grow corn on mounds to keep the roots dry during wet springs in the northeastern United States. We also do it in a circle, so not in rows. One method we use to keep nature in balance is the 3 sisters, used for planting, which uses mounds. Sometimes a 4th sister is used, such as a sunflower or amethyst, which attracts pollinators and lures birds away from the seeds. Beans are the anchors. Squash form a living mulch, and both are stronger together. This is an example of how we do planting. Agroforestry, as I said, develops a microclimate that protects crops against extremes. Blending agriculture with forestry techniques helps to control temperature, sunlight, exposure, and susceptibility to wind. Our men prepare the soil, but our women, who are expert genetics, have the major responsibility of planting, weeding, and harvesting of the crops. We have cultivated several varieties of squash, maize, and beans, 24 varieties of maize at this time. We cultivate beans as bush varieties that are self-supporting instead of vining. We breed maize to mature in a growing season that averages about 60 days, which had been 200 days for the European. Before we developed our seeds, the moon for this harvest is July. Seed harvesting and collection is done by our women as a group. Phenology, the art of observing nature for the signs that are safe to plant, is practiced including watching birds' migration and animals to return, and for plants and trees to leaf out and flower. This tells us spring weather is here. Papoose is used to carry our children, so they were never far from us and could be immediately flee in a hurry without having to find them. We plant the 4 corn seeds first in the center of the mound. Then the corn is approximately 4 inches high. We plant 4 bean seeds halfway down the sides of the mound, at least 3 inches apart. After the beans have emerged, the plant 2 squash seeds 24 inches from the center of the mound. We train the squash to the outward form of the mound to not crowd the corn and beans. Nothing was random we were doing. Everything was specific. Even how we built and what we did. Native Americans grow many variations of the 3 sisters. A mound with squash, maize, and beans. Beans climb the maize and add nitrogen to the soil. Squash blocks sunlight, retarding weeds and keeping soil from parching. Maize produces a lot of carbohydrates, calories, and forms a complete protein when combined with beans. This is an example of how they would be planted. Each of the sisters contributes something to the planting. Together, the sisters provide a balanced diet for a single planting. An older sister often do the corn, offers the beans necessary support. The pole beans, the giving sister, pull nitrogen from the air and bring it to the soil for the benefit of all 3. As the beans grow, the tangle of squash, vines, and wind wind their way up the cornstalk into the sunlight. They hold the sisters close together. The large leaves of the sprawling squash protect the tree threesome by creating living mulch that shades the soil, keeping it cool and moist and preventing weeds. The prickly squash leaves also keep away raccoons and other pests which don't like to step on them. Together, the 3 sisters provide both sustainability, soil fertility, as well as a healthy diet. This is an example of one of our girls scaring crows out of the crops. To the right is an elderly man scraping kernels with teeth of jawbone. The kernels will drop into a bottom half of a large gourd for storage. The plants that resemble small sunflowers are Jerusalem artichokes, a plant native to the Mississippi Valley, our valley. They grew the plants for the roots, which somewhat resemble potatoes. Native farmers introduced Europeans to a cornucopia of nutritious plants. This included potatoes, peanuts, manic beans, tomatoes, sunflowers, and yams. Maize or corn was by far the most significant contribution because it is now grown on every continent except Antarctica. Also, those foods were very useful to trade. And there's nothing better than corn from Oklahoma. Coming in the early 1800s, when I was young, they began disrupting our system. They did not treat the land as it needed to be. The land that we have taken so long as extreme management environmentalists, they remove us as farming specialists, instead making our men farm. It is not only insulting, but very sad. Our methods are being eradicated, but our men are despondent.
Joy, I have no sound for you. Does everybody else hear Joy?
No.
Okay. Joy, you are cutting in and out on your sound.
And it freezes. Does yours freeze too with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Joy, can you hear me? Let me send her a text. I just asked her to reboot and come back in. That will be better for all of us. Would Davina, will you tell our numbers?
Our numbers, 1,300 wonderful members, and our supplements to honor extra important American farmers, 1,373. Good numbers. Thank you, everyone.
And then Julie called this morning, and she and Nancy have two coming in from Illinois, and then we've got from Nebraska two more coming in. So we're just doing phenomenal.
Fun.
Thank you, everyone, for all your help and in our society growing. I'm trying to watch for her to let her in immediately.
It's a fascinating talk.
Yes, it is.
Smart Indians. Wow.
I love the idea that the squash keeps away the coons from the corn.
Yes.
I just
Because
like the whole three sister idea. The
Yes.
shade for this one, the post for the beans, everything is
Clever.
makes sense.
And not to plant in rows, but circles. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that one interesting.
Mhm.
I definitely have never seen anything like that before. It's new information for me.
It is.
Very good.
And the word teepee. That was fun to know why they named it teepees.
Well, while we are waiting on her, do we have anyone new that has not been on a Zoom before? If so, would you raise your hand? Oh, Janet. Nice to see you, Janet. Thank you so much for coming in. Right. Anyone else? Janet, What is your member number?
Oh, I put that down. I thought you said it'd never been on this Zoom before, so, yeah.
Yes.
No, I came in ahead of time, so.
Well, that's fine, that's fine. All right, so I'm giving a few prizes as we go through the day, through this. So Janet, we're going to send you a little pin. Thank you so much for coming on. All right. And we've got Peggy Booth and Larry Helm and Sharon Helm as visitors. So welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
So Peggy, I'm going to send you a little prize too. She can't come in. Good morning. Wait, you want to try it once more? Can you at least sign on? Well, I have control of that. So it's all you have to do is, let me try this way. Right, I'm going to send you a new invite. Right, okay, bye. In Washington, I learned that how to do a hybrid the wrong way. So now we're learning how to fix some problems. So let's see.
Well, I would like to thank you. My name is B. Chaplin, and I would like to thank you for the wonderful reception in Washington, D.C. That was really very nice. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, B.
It
That was fun.
really
It was
nice
so
to
fun
meet you.
being together,
It was
seeing you
fun.
there.
Yes. And
And-
now I haven't gotten any of the pictures. Are they on your website, or
We are,
where could I find the pictures?
I'm so glad you asked. We are getting ready to purchase all of the photographs that convention photographers did for us on the 30th. So we will own those. And so I don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't know if we're going to send them to you as a gift or if we're going to sell them for whatever. So we will be making that decision, but we have 357 photographs to share.
Oh,
There's
my
Joy.
goodness.
That's a lot.
All right, Joy, you got it back again. Joy, I'm going to have to go in and make you. Okay, so you can share screen when you're ready.
Mute.
I'm going to talk small talk. Does anyone
Okay.
remember the first Zoom I ever did?
Yes.
Can you believe we've sure come a long ways? I learned how to shut a Zoom down quickly.
That one memorable.
Oh my heavens.
I
My
think
heavens.
I was there too, yeah.
That's a story and a half.
I don't want it. I just remember that one. I remember we were,
Where did,
go ahead.
There she is.
where did we leave me?
You're here, Joy.
No, I mean, where did you last hear me? When did my sound cut off?
Oh, quite a ways in. Why don't you go?
You were on the slide of the Tulalip Indian School circa.
Oh, that was my last slide.
Yes.
1912, yes, that's the one
Okay.
on.
So
Let me-
Joy, please go 2 slides before that.
Jeez. What is going on? See, I'm on my phone. And I don't know why it won't connect on it.
Well, why don't you just talk? You can
Okay.
just talk.
Did you,
it's fine.
when I showed the 3 beans in the Native American, did you see this slide and hear me?
We can hear you.
No, did you hear me on this slide?
Yes.
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 Okay. And you heard this one?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And you heard me
Yes.
read all this? Okay,
yes.
that's the
Yes.
last slide. That's my last slide. I was going to share some things with you and answer any questions that you may have. My other grandmother, great grandmother, who was born in Indian Territory, she was Cherokee, so I'm Cherokee and Creek. This is her corn hoer,
Oh my
corn
gosh.
seed planter. This is a corn seed planter. Can you see?
Yeah,
So that was be tedious, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because you just open it and close it. I wanted to open up for any questions, or I could tell other history, or is there any comments? Or I
Well-
make my own outfits to go with the era. I have 11 Zooms, or in person if possible. And I adjust it they're free. I adjust for age and things like that. I want to bring history alive to people and make them interested and not think of us in Hollywood. And I want to save my culture and language before the elders die, because we only learned from speaking, and our language is not letters like English. Our language is sounds. So MV is ma.
And
So
Joy,
it-
how long have you been researching your family?
20 years. And when I was 5, I'm 65. When I was born in Oklahoma and raised in Bixby. I began at 5 asking people, if you don't want this, can I have it? Especially if it was paper. So I've collected people's everything. And then I started reading in libraries and newspapers and asking people to tell me stories. So I just have a passion for this. And now that I'm retired, I can spend my time on it.
Joy, what county is Bixby in?
Tulsa. It's just
Okay.
south of Tulsa.
The reason I asked, my grandparents were married in Indian Territory, my
Uh-huh.
great-grandparents, in Blue Jacket, in Craig County,
Oh.
up in
Right.
the corner.
Well, my husband was born in Muskogee, and I grew up my whole life basically in Bixby, but I lived in Catoosa for a while. All the names of Oklahoma come from Native. Oklahoma means red man.
Yeah, well, my mother was born in Jenks.
Oh, that's our competitor. Bixby and Jinx were rivals.
Yeah,
Do you know where Antlers, Oklahoma is, the reservation there?
Yes, I do.
My half brother, his mother lived there, and my brother went to live with her on the reservation. He died actually in Tulsa, but he was living in Antlers when he became sick and was flown to Tulsa to the hospital there. But I forget which tribe it was. I know it originally came from Muncie, Indiana.
I do free research help with people researching their native genealogy because it's complicated and you have to know how it was formed. And I've helped several people find, just recently, my son-in-law had a story that I now know. I have found the mission registry where his third great grandmother was born as the native, what tribe her name was and everything. So I love researching for anybody that needs help. And I also collect stories. So if you have any story you want to share or want me to try to research to see if it's true, I have a master's in forensic accounting. I'm a certified fraud investigator, and I'm a certified internal auditor and a certified tax preparer. So that background helps me do what I do. This is my tribe gave me to wear when I graduated in my master's. And on one side it says higher education, and the other side it has my language saying the same thing. And this would have been a typical native girl, and the corn and everything. See, it's different. Is there anything you would like to ask me? I can ramble all day long.
Joy, do you still have your eagle feather?
Yes, and I'm making it into a busk fan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've gathered antlers. I can have eagle feathers. I'm registered with the Department of Agriculture, I think it's in. They send me eagle feathers when they come because natives can have them because they're part of our ceremonies. The eagle feather, it wasn't a peace pipe. It was a sacred pipe. The pipe is like the cross. It was a way they believed that the breath from you would go to the bowl, and the bowl represents the creator. So it creates the smoke that goes up, and that's how he hears your voice. So when the only time they smoked was to send their voice to God. And the only time they drank something different was the white drink they drank during their ceremonies to clean themselves. Once a year, we did a ceremony where for like 3 days, you didn't eat and you drank this white drink, which just sounds like you lost everything. And so you're purified. They burn everything they have as far as their clothing, and they take their fires and extinguish them and light a new fire for the year. And then everybody's fires are renewed by the fire. So that's why there's not much artifacts to find. The Smithsonian has most of them now. And they also didn't bury their dead. I can tell you a quick little story if you want to hear it represent that.
Yes,
Um,
please.
Please.
Have I got a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There was the natives sleep in their teepees or as a family. So once you reach a certain age, you don't really have a name because your name is sacred and you don't share it with anybody because it comes from the creator when you come of age. So in there, everybody's called aunt, uncle, grandfather, and the elders are always respected. The reason natives look down to anybody older, their eyes down, is out of respect. You would never look somebody in the eye that's elder, and you never interrupted them. So you didn't speak over them. Elders were very, very respected because of knowledge. Anything elder, an elder, animal, tree, everything was respected because they have knowledge and have been here longer. So the uncle, one morning when they woke up, was dead. So they took him out. Everybody would take out the dead and set him in a sitting position and cover them with rocks up to their neck, and somebody would tend to them until a ceremony of burning came once a year, and that's what the mounds were. We put our dead there, burned them, and then and covered them, and the next year you did the same thing. When the mound got too tall, you started another one. So that's why there's no buried dead. So they took him out and they did this to him. The next morning when they woke up, the uncle walked in the tent and said, "I'm hungry. Let's go." And they were like, "What?" And so they fed him. And the next day, when they woke up, he was dead again. So they took him out, buried him again up to his neck in rocks. And sure enough, the next morning, he came back in and wanted to eat. The next time it happened, the guy says, "What's happened?" And they said, the next time it happened, we buried him the white man's way. And you say, "What happened to him?" He said, "We don't know. He never came back."
Yeah. Oh my God.
Natives believe in humor to be healthy.
Good.
Joy, I had a question.
Sure.
This is Jill Chapman from Brevard, North Carolina, and we used to live in Franklin, and we used to drive over Coweta Mountain.
Oh,
So when
Coweta.
I heard you say that, and this is Cherokee territory, do you suppose that's where it came from?
Coweta is the original tribe of the Muscogee Nation.
Okay.
So that name, where you see it, comes from my tribe. Lavinia was born in the Coweta tribe. Tribes were either red or white. White, you could only negotiate peace in a white tribe, and you wouldn't talk about war. In a red tribe, you only negotiated war, and you never talked about peace.
Wow.
So you were one or the other. And Coweta was a red tribe. They were in charge. They had the leader. That's where McGilvray was. it had a whole government where you can see they had a president, they had council, which the women were included on, the women elders were in there, that they would have, just like we have a House and a Senate. And then they had laws. They never had a prison because they didn't need one. They didn't have a word for religion because what you're born with is part of you. You can't separate it. So you knew what the rules were, and the rules were harsh. They would, let's say you stole, they might cut off your hands, but the person that you stole from gets to have input. You might have to serve them for a year to replace whatever you stole. If you were adulteries, they would possibly cut off your ear. So if you committed the worst of the worst, then they started with lashes. You got 50 lashes, and they never had to come get you. You had a time and place you had to show up, and you showed up. If you did it again, you got 100 lashes. If you did something severe enough that you would be killed, then you come to the tree, and mine is still there, and you sit in front of the tree and put a red patch on your heart and pick somebody, hopefully usually your best friend, to kill you, because they will do it quickly and with compassion. So when you have a friend, you might have to kill him someday if he does something egregious. But you were
Thank
given
you.
a week. You're given a week to go home and settle your affairs, and then you came back.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Joy, were you able to, this is Janet again, were you able to talk to your grandparents or your mom and stuff on your history?
My grandfather, who I knew all my life, was born in Indian Territory. His father was murdered when he was 7. I have all of his documents. Even though his father was an interpreter for the Dawes Commission and knew 7 languages, my grandfather never spoke one. When I asked my dad didn't tell me we were native until I was 18. That was in 1974. Because at that time, boarding schools were still going on. Experimentation on us was still going on.
Wow.
60,000 of our women were sterilized in 1970. So I asked my dad why he never registered until I was 18, and why didn't he register us? Because he told me that nothing good ever came from being an Indian.
Oh, no. Oh.
So I read newspapers, history, I have documentation, and I've learned through my own research what my family history is. And it's very sad because I can't ask them things now that I know. So, I do the best I can, and I gather stories wherever I can. I tell people to write things down because someday somebody like me is going to be looking.
So true, so true. Thank you, Joy, very much.
And I have a library that I hope to make into a research library sometime that's private. I've already collected 1,400 books that are research, and 300 are native.
And he said that there's nobody in the area now that does bricks. They have to go up to Pennsylvania. And with fewer people doing the bricks, that makes a longer backlog. Because now the brick engravers have more business than they can handle. You know what I'm saying?
I also do, I work on a project. I'm with the DAR.
You have to sell 50 before before we can even send it. And then when you send the order, the brick engravers are backlogged because fewer people are doing it. So now their orders get backlogged and they can only move so fast. What do you want? I can't make them engrave bricks any faster.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea.
What I was doing,
What is your contact information for doing a Zoom, one of your other Zooms?
Oh, Joy Sweger.
Yeah, you can share that also on the screen, Joyce, so everybody can write it down. That would be kind.
I don't know if I know how to do that.
Right, and we will also do a follow-up with joy on everyone who has signed up. We will send to each of you her contact information, her phone number, and her email. So you will have all of that.
Thank you.
And there's a brochure, a flyer that I provided, or I will provide, that shows the presentations I do and how in my background.
Thank you.
When I was doing some research in Michigan, I was doing some cemetery research and couldn't understand why there was some Indians buried in our family plot. Turns out they were Native Americans, Indians from Michigan, and they're on the rolls. Because I contacted them, and they said, well, if I was at this direct descendant of this lady, I could join. I go, oh, nope, collateral line. But it was very interesting to discover that one of my ancestors, or my collateral ancestors, had married into the Indian tribe up there.
The very few people realize that the Cherokee Nation, the reason they fought removal is because it wasn't the first. The government removed them originally from the Great Lakes to Georgia and Alabama and told them they could stay. So that's why they were really not wanting to be removed again. And the Delaware were part of the Cherokee Confederacy.
Tennessee. Hey, Brenda, I'm on a Zoom. Can I call you right back? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. I apologize.
Joy, was any of your family part of the, when they moved the Indians out of Oklahoma in that Trail of Tears?
Well, the Trail of Tears, every nation had one, but there were several people that moved in the front end when they knew it was inevitable that you were going. And my ancestor that I did today, Lavinia Kennard, she was about 16 years old when her tribe picked up and moved to Texas. Unfortunately, that was 1842, and we all know it was happening in Texas. It was 1832, and so she was there in 1842. She was with the Caddo Indians at the time when the Texas Revolution started breaking out. So I have one. I do her life. She was born in 1795. She experienced the removal boarding school. Her son was sent to one of the boarding schools, and she went through all the Civil War in Indian Territory, and she didn't die till 1906.
Wow.
She was 114 when she died.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'm going to do 4 drawings. So I just did my first test one. So Pat Williams will be sending you a little gift. Let's get it. Let's do another one. I'll share my screen. Do you all do these? Do you, well, do you use these in your organizations?
No.
Much.
Madam President National, have you taken the pictures yet?
I will, and just to thank you so much, ma'am. I have been taking them, but not a lot. Is Jude Dagan here? I did not see her. Jude? Okay, speak up because I'm going to go right on. Done. Let's go. I'm going to do 4. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
that's cool.
I've never seen this. This is interesting.
And this is free. Nancy Glass.
That's really neat.
Is Nancy here? Okay, let's do another one.
Yeah, I've never seen these either. That's kind of spiffy.
Okay, it's called pickerwheel.com.
Do we have to be present to win?
You have to be present to win.
Oh,
Kate Skalikas. Kate. She was here a few minutes ago. All right, well, we'll just keep going. We'll say that's right. Okay, was Pat, are you still here? So Pat Williams and Kate. Come on, give us a good one. Laurie Ramos. Do one more. Well, we'd like to have somebody who's here. Here. Is Janet Kres here? All right. How many more do you want to do? I'm going to give 4 of them. Or Davina's going to give 4 of them.
I'll mail them.
Denise Cervantes. Now, Everybody signed up?
Wow.
Okay, we'll do 2 more and then we're done. Well, good. Peggy Booth.
I'm
Is she
here.
still here? Good.
Yay.
Good. Well, Peggy,
Peggy.
come on.
Yay, Peggy.
Great, 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 Peggy. Okay, the last one. Here we go. Let's do it. Good, Peggy. I'm so happy you got it, Peggy.
Thank you.
And Margaret Carr, I know she's here.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay.
Good, good. Well, I have no idea what you're going to get because Davina's going to pick them. So
I'll look forward to it.
good. It's just fun to do that picker wheel. So if you don't mind, I'm going to do some photographs, please. So we're going to do 2 or 3. My 2 or 3s never turn out to be 2 or 3. Hey, Shelley, it's good to see you both.
I remember the old days, Janice, when you're running around with the camera. Don't believe her. Two doesn't work.
That's right. You know, I still have all those photographs, Mary Glenn.
Oh, Lord. Hey,
Oh.
hey, we're all a little younger then.
Yes, not much, but a little.
I know,
There you are.
I know there are a lot of you there, but I'm just curious where I'm reaching. Can some of you do a shout out of where you are?
Texas.
Tennessee.
Florida,
Nebraska.
Texas.
Michigan, California.
Colorado.
Texas.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Colorado.
Amy,
Virginia.
Kansas.
Vermont.
Michigan.
Wow.
Florida.
I'm in California, San Joaquin Valley.
Illinois
Beautiful.
also. So this has been a great group and we will be sending you a certificate of appreciation, Joy, for doing this program for us. And we appreciate you very much. And I will ask one last thing. Joy, did you do your jewelry or did someone do it for you?
No, this is purchased jewelry, but I am beading. I'm making monkskins. I'm learning everything to do myself. So someday I can pass it on to other people. My oldest daughter's a costume designer.
Oh,
So
wow.
she helps do things, but this one I totally have done myself. I really enjoy, I love doing this. So if anybody needs me, if you need help, got a question, reach out. I'm glad to help. And I
Perfect.
hope you enjoyed it today and it was worth your time. Time is so
Very
precious
much
now.
so.
Thank
Very
you.
much so.
Very nice. Thank you.
And
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Very
Joy.
Thank you,
Madame.
Joy.
Thank-
Madame.
I'm going to stop recording.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Madame.
much.